thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Now we got it. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. But X has not started, it says. I'm gonna hit refresh.
Well, I don't even know if X is actually
X is
loaded.
You know, Gabriel got this all together, bro. He's on it. But X is something going on with X right now. They're having some technical difficulties. But nonetheless, good morning, you guys. It is Friday, January 16th. And today is, you're going to love this, doctors. Today is National Without a Scalpel Day.
All right.
Very nice.
You don't want to be without a scalpel.
Yeah. No doctors without a scalpel. It's almost like having your notepad and your pen, Jesse.
That's right.
You know?
Couldn't live without it.
Let's see. It's also National Fig Newton Day today.
Dude, that's like one of the best things ever invented.
You think you like fig Newtons like that? Really?
I love fig Newtons, dude.
Interesting. I think they're all right. I don't think they're like the best thing ever, but you know what I mean?
Well, so I grew up fairly not crazy poor, but fairly poor.
Yeah.
And so I
grew up in a trailer park, so
anything that was sweet or like decently sweet that other people didn't like to eat, I gained a huge appreciation for because people wouldn't eat it, and it would always be the thing left in the pantry that nobody else ate. So I would be able to eat it all to myself. Fig Newtons was one of those things.
You know, so I could see that.
I've always thought that people are stupid for not liking fig Newtons, and thank you for leaving them for me.
Interesting. There's some little feedback kind of thing coming a little bit, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, we got some kind of echo.
Yeah,
from somewhere. Oh, it went away.
And there we go. And it's also all right. Now here's the interesting one today, you guys. It's National Nothing Day today. Are you ready for this, bro? This is hysterical. Okay. All right. I hope you guys are ready for this because I was like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? And so I left the page up last night so I could read it. It says each year on January 16th, people across the nation recognize National Nothing Day. National Nothing Day was created as a day to provide Americans with one national day when they can just sit without celebrating, observing, or honoring anything. National Day calendar only reports the days. Sometimes they may contradict themselves, and the National Day can be about nothing, or you can make nothing out of something. The choice is yours.
Or something out of nothing, which these people have clearly done.
I'm all about making something out of nothing. I'm all about that life.
Yeah, because if you celebrate nothing, you actually ended up celebrating something, which is contradictory.
Mm-hmm. It says while it may be a good day to celebrate nothing at all, we suppose putting nothing in a glass and setting it on a table might suffice for your celebration. You might leave your diary page blank every January 16th. Don't mark anything on your calendar on the 16th either. And this is my favorite one of their suggestions. This is the best way to celebrate. I think I just might do this just because. It says it would be interesting to see what would happen if you sent a blank email dated January 16th and how many replies would you get saying there's nothing here.
That's actually kind of a good idea.
I thought so too. I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, that's pretty witty. That's a good, email troll right there. I'm not mad at that. But nonetheless, and it also is big important day today. Big important day. Today is National Religious Freedom Day today, you guys.
Let's go. One of the best things about our country.
Yes. All right, we got X up. X is rolling. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website at www.high9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms, you guys. And man, I have an interesting study for you guys today, because they're saying that hemp seed extracts may enhance effectiveness of antibiotics and antifungal medications. I think that's perfect since we're going through the little cold season right now. A study published by the Journal of Plants reports that extracts derived from hemp seeds may enhance the effectiveness of certain antibiotics and antifungal medications, with results varying significantly depending on both the hemp cultivar and the extraction method used. The research was conducted by scientists from Victor Babes University of Medicine and Pharmacy and focused on 3 Romanian hemp seed varieties: Lovren 110, Sylvania, and LV585. Researchers analyzed seed extracts produced using conventional hydrochloric extraction and ultrasound-assisted extraction, comparing their chemical profiles and antimicrobial activity. Using high-performance liquid chromatography, the team found that the ultrasounded-assisted extraction consistently produced higher concentrations of specific phenolic compounds, including epicatechin, quercetin, rosmarinic acid, resveratrol, and ferulic acid. And these compounds are known for their antioxidant and antimicrobial properties. In laboratory testing, extracts with higher folic enrichment showed stronger inhibitory effects against a range of bacteria and yeast, including both gram-positive and gram-negative strains. The most notable antimicrobial activity was observed against Streptococcus pyogenes, Staphylococcus aureus, Bacillus cereus, and the yeast Candida albinicans. And when combined with the antibiotics amoxicillin and miconazole, several extracts produced measurable synergistic effects, reducing the amount of medication needed to inhibit microbial growth. Statistical analytics revealed that antimicrobial performance was driven more by the presence of specific phenolic compounds than by total phenolic content. Certain phenolic profiles were more closely linked to activity against gram-positive bacteria, while others were associated with inhibition of Escherichia coli and Candida albinicans. According to the researchers, the findings suggest that carefully selected hemp and seed extracts could potentially support antimicrobial therapies. Through further studies, further studies would be needed to assess safety, dosing, and real-world applicability. Well, doctors, I'm not sure how much I murdered those words, but I'm sure that you guys are definitely going to let me know all about this and correct my errors, but I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. Hemp seed oil. It's good. It's good to all of a sudden come into a drugstore near you.
Yeah, excellent. I was on mute shouting in the back.
Oh man,
Every time you said one of those.
I'm sorry.
Bacteria. but they're pretty common bacteria and fungi. Candida, people know Candida, and staph and E. coli. Those are the things that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, it's interesting. I mean, plants have always had antimicrobial properties. Many plants do. And it makes sense that the seeds of the plants also do. So I don't know if this is something specific to cannabis or if it's just that all plants have antimicrobial properties. We did discover our first antibiotic from a fungus, from a fungus, that's penicillin.
Yeah, penicillin, right? Yeah. It was mold on bread, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then we have also seen that even the cannabinoids, not just the compounds that you mentioned, because you mentioned lots of compounds, but you didn't mention any cannabinoids because the seeds tend not to have very many cannabinoids.
Interesting.
But we also know that the cannabinoids have antibacterial properties. So, it's all, be careful in using them because they might not be specific to whatever over infection you have now, but I do feel that they can be synergistic if you are using an antibiotic to add some cannabinoids or some seed extract to it.
I mean, Dr. Mark or Dr. T, I mean, I imagine if I'm a amoxicillin manufacturer, I am going to create a whole new SKU that has like a hemp seed film around the amoxicillin capsule. And then I can market it as coated with this hemp seed oil for ultra antimicrobial and antifungal effects, like an extra strength version.
Yeah, you'd run up against the FDA asking you what is in that thing that you're surrounding with the amoxicillin, and please describe it in detail, every single chemical, make them consistent, all of that. But yeah, you could do it.
You could do it though, right?
You could do it.
I mean, you just give them a little, a bundle of cash and, and have a great day and we're off to the races, right? That's how it worked with some other things that the FDA has approved.
Huge bundle of cash.
Yeah, fair enough. Huge bundles. Yeah. Fair enough. Size matters. What do you think about this, Dr. Mark?
Oh, God. Okay, a couple things. Hemp seed oil is a good oil. It's heart healthy. Issue with hemp seed oil is because it's so full of polyunsaturates, it tends to go rancid quickly. And so
not a stable shelf life, you're saying?
Yeah, that's part of the problem is like if you made cookies, like Chips Ahoy cookies, for example, where the hemp seed oil was used, it would taste rancid on the shelf because eventually air or the oxygen in air degrades these polyunsaturates. And so, certainly in certain formulations, they can stabilize, but they can add antioxidants to that. And in fact, some of the cannabinoids themselves, some of the compounds you mentioned are flavonoids like quercetin and whatnot. Those are flavonoids that are known to be antioxidants. And, I think that it's just really exciting to see this kind of data in the literature because, trying to control there's particular strains of E. coli that are more important. I think the E. coli that infects like hamburger meat is something called STEC. STEC stands for Gigatoxin E. coli. So there's certain varieties of E. coli, and you mentioned also staph and methicillin-resistant staph, which is MSRA, which is a very important thing to control. And like Dr. T said, it's interesting that the study looked at hemp seed oil, which is basically free of cannabinoids, right? There's no cannabinoids in hemp seed oil, right, Jean?
if they're in very small amounts.
Yeah, very small amount, because that would just be because the seeds are in and around where the trichomes are that produce cannabinoids, and there could certainly be cross contamination at the hemp seed level of cannabinoids in there. But yeah, just to go back to, these are important bacteria to develop, natural solutions for. I think, Dr. T, you'd probably agree that natural solutions are better than sometimes these, broad spectrum things that basically kill everything. They don't really kill everything. They kill like 99.99%, but that small fraction.
It's just like Lysol.
Yeah, right. Lysol or alcohol or anything like that. Yeah, so the small percentage that does survive that can develop what's called resistance. And that's where we have problems, because now our frontline antibiotics aren't going to work on bacteria that's able to evolve resistance to. So it's unclear whether or not hemp seed oil or the components that they tested in hemp seed oil would select for resilient populations of bacteria. That's who you always have to be a little concerned about antimicrobials, and making sure that, again, like I think these naturally occurring antimicrobials, Dr. T, might be safer to use than some broad spectrum antibacterial agent that, eventually the bacteria can develop a resistance to. So I think what would be really interesting to show is that, you can lower the dose of the antibiotic. So there are very powerful antibiotics like vancomycin and other things like that, that if you can lower the effective dose, now you're putting out less of that antibacterial in the bacterial population and maybe giving them less of an opportunity to develop resistance. So I think this type of synergistic activity can be manifest in a way that can make our frontline antibiotics more effective. Dr. T, is that?
When you think about Jason's idea of surrounding amoxicillin with hemp oil.
Well, I have an experiment too. I think
surrounding it would basically expose it to air, which would expose it to going rancid. So I don't think, in a way, I understand your concept. It doesn't necessarily need to be surrounded by.
So maybe it needs to be turned into amoxicillin needs to turn into a gel cap that encapsulates it with the hemp oil.
Something like that, right?
Okay.
When you're limiting limiting the exposure air, because again, if you put hemp seed oil on the countertop like you would store olive oil or other cooking oils, it is going to go rancid, because after a while, air is going to react with that. But I think your concept is good, because what you can do is you can co-formulate. So in some of these nano emulsions that are in like beverages these days for the hemp beverages, what you're doing is you're taking oil droplets of your cannabinoids and dispersing those under high shear rate mixing conditions in the presence of an emulsifier. Well, if you do that, and now your cannabinoids are dissolved in a hemp seed oil vehicle, now it's the hemp seed oil that's going to be emulsified. So maybe there are emulsion technologies that can basically retard the oxidative degradation.
I see what you did there.
Because when you start tasting hemp seed oil that's degraded, it doesn't taste very good. And, you don't want the product out there.
I have an at-home science experiment, but I understand what you're saying, because I remember my mom was a nurse, and my mom, every time that I would get amoxicillin, she would make me take it all the way through the whole bottle. And because she would say, you can't stop it just because you start to feel better, because then you allow that sickness to not be as diminished as it would, and it creates this problem among human beings, where they develop this what was the word that you used? Resistance, exactly. Exactly. And we're at least I'm against the resistance over here, but nonetheless, I'm wondering if we could do an at-home experiment, and this would be totally for like you in the lab kind of thing, or people at home, right? If you get prescribed amoxicillin, you could get a bottle of hemp seed oil and dump your pills in there and let them soak in there the whole time, and you're always going to have a lid, so that's going to keep it airtight, right? And so, you know, and you take the pills, and then we just see if you get better faster. Wouldn't that be an at-home type of way to do this type of an experiment, Dr. Mark?
Well, I get you what you're saying. You want to try to synergize the amoxicillin by adding this seed oil after reading this story today. But I think that there's a whole lot more that goes on there. And I guess the thing that I would be a little concerned, well, I mean, hemp seed oil is a edible, heart healthy oil.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The polyunsaturates that are in there are the healthy fats that our bodies are able to degrade and not necessarily store as cholesterol and other triglycerides. But I think just from the heart perspective, Dr. T, hemp seed oil is a good thing. Get it in your diet, right? But,
Yes.
you know, keep in mind that, again, like if you smell old peanuts and you have that kind of old stale peanut smell, what that is the peanut oil is undergone oxidation, and hemp seed oil will do the same thing. So you just, if your hemp seed oil, again, is kept in a cold, dark place and probably free of air, like don't leave the top off the bottle, like use the bottle and then maybe even buy smaller bottles, right?
Oh,
so you're not storing a lot.
That's a good idea.
Use the bottle more frequently.
Yeah, you get those little vials, you know what I'm saying, from the smoke shop.
Yeah, but the lesson is keep it fresh, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sooner you use it, the less oxidation.
Interesting.
Yes, the less oxidation and the less it'll taste like rotten, stale peanuts.
Look at this, Jesse. We're over here doing drug development over here on High at 9 News today.
I hear that. What's funny about that is that what I hear in this story, what sticks out to me are the two extraction methods. One is hydroalcoholic and the other is ultrasound assisted. The hydroalcoholic extraction, this is pretty similar to making bitters or amaro, which is just herbal wine or herbal liqueur that goes back thousands of years.
Isn't a hydroalcoholic just someone
water and alcohol?
Well, no, just someone that smokes indoor and does a crossfade on a regular basis.
No, but
okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Sure.
Okay.
So, you know, the method of extracting things from seeds and roots and making bitters and making herbal liqueurs that have medicinal effects and making what they would call in Italy aperitifs or digestives. And these things were known to have antibacterial and pro-digestive properties going back thousands of years. So it's cool that the science is just kind of proving this really ancient thing. And they would use seeds and roots and different things to create the bitter part, which the bitter part was known to
bitters
have this,
are great,
or
bro.
it's thought to have this medicinal property, and that's where bitters actually come from. So this sounds very much exactly like that if you're using a hydroalcoholic extraction method. And then the ultrasound assisted extraction, that I've never even heard of that. And getting compounds out with vibration, I've thought about that before. It sounds like a physical possibility. So it's cool to see that they're using that. And these compounds that they're pulling out, this is very similar to any kind of bitters that would be made that are supposed to be medicinal. So that's all really cool and very historic. And you can actually, if you have a farm or you have a property, you can actually do things like this on your own. So,
well, Anna Lewis came in a little bit late, and she says that Elliot and her two oldest boys are a little sick, and so Anna, I think you need to get them some amoxicillin with some hemp seed oil. Based off of this whole story, and I think that is actually going to do the trick, and everyone's going to have a better day. And on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we are going to be right back. Oh man, you guys.
But yeah. Oh God.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, I have another study for you guys. I have 3 studies today for you guys. I've been studying a lot over this week. But there's a CBD that shows potent antibacterial activity against drug-resistant, Dr. Mark, Enterococcus strains. I think I said that right. In a new lab study published in Molecules, researchers say CBD cannabidiol may have strong antibacterial effects against Enterococcus bacteria, including strains that are increasingly difficult to treat with existing antibiotics. The research was conducted by scientists from Nicholas Copernicus University and the Wroclaw University of Environmental and Life Sciences, who examined whether commercially available CBD products could inhibit the growth of Enterococcus faecalis and Enterococcus faecum. These gram-positive bacteria are common in the environment and normal human microbacteria, but they are also a major cause of hospital-acquired infections and are known for their ability to resist multiple antibiotics, Dr. Mark. Look what you're just talking about. Researchers tested 5 CBD oil products containing cannabidiol or related derivatives along with a nearly pure 99% CBD crystal product. The antimicrobial effects were evaluated against 20 clinical strains of Enterococcus using a standard micro-dilution method to determine minimal inhibitory concentrations, or better known as MICs, which measure the lowest concentration needed to stop bacterial growth, Dr. Mark. Across all tested strains, CBD demonstrated clear antibacterial activity with MIC values at or below 1 milligram per millimeter. And the researchers found that higher concentrations of CBD consistently produced stronger antibacterial effects, and notably pure CBD and CBD crystals were more effective against E. fascium and E. facialis, a difference that was statistically significant. Given the growing spread of multi-drug resistant Enterococcus strains in healthcare settings, the findings point to CBD as a potential candidate for future antimicrobial development. While the authors emphasize that additional research is needed, including studies to better understand how CBD disrupts bacterial survival, they conclude that their results provide a strong foundation for exploring CBD-based approaches as possible new tools in the fight against antibiotic-resistant infections, Dr. Mark. The study was conducted by researchers at the University of Virginia and made aware of it. Well, look at that. Look at that. Look at that back-to-back studies like that, Dr. Mark. You brought up the whole resistant problem, and I just got you the cure with CBD. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, look where the work is being done. It's interesting, right?
Yeah, we're destroying bacteria over here today.
Yeah, but look where the work was published from. Go to the Molecules link.
Oh,
Virginia?
I don't have that right. I don't have that right here. Hold on a second. Give me a second, Dr. Mark. Give me a second.
Yeah, it's work done in Poland, right?
Okay.
Oh, Poland.
Not that work done in Poland is not valuable. Certainly, yeah, this is certainly valuable. But yeah, I mean, this is like, and speaking to what we were just talking about, which is that cannabinoids might help frontline antibiotics work better.
Mm-hmm.
We don't fully understand why, but yeah, the antimicrobial nature of the cannabinoids should be part of the reason why they should be in topical products, or they should be in products where antimicrobial activity matters. I mean, you can imagine too, like if you're getting stents put in, or a mesh to do a hernia repair. I mean, you certainly need microbial free materials that's going to live in your body for a long time,
mm-hmm.
right? So any surface can basically form a biofilm, or can basically become microbially fouled. And so maybe there's applications in medical materials like hip replacement materials, or things that go into the body that are plastic, because you certainly don't want to encourage microbial growth on those. Yeah, all kinds of applications, commercial applications for using antimicrobial agents, where we know, based on the safety of cannabinoids alone, John, right, that these things can be used in conjunction with frontline antibiotics. I don't know if they could replace those antibiotics like vancomycin and amoxicillin and all those, but
Well,
no
need to replace. I mean, we shouldn't get rid of things that work in certain situations. But I think your point, your biggest point, I think the best point is this balance that we're trying to achieve. And sometimes the antibiotics that we use are so powerful that they throw you out of balance and create this resistance.
Right.
In your own body. So really, it's great that the cannabinoids, and this morning we learned that the cannabinoids and the components of hemp seed oil without cannabinoids both have antimicrobial properties. Right. That's great. You know, it helps us re-achieve this balance if you have overgrowth. Enterococcus fecalis, those are just your gut, normal gut bacteria.
Okay.
So we all have it. So we don't want to get rid of it completely. We want it to get it back into balance.
We just want to control the amounts, right? Keep it at a healthy level.
Yes, exactly. But CBD in the water, I say, in everything we should be doing, we should have CBD. And for those investors out there, yeah, it's real. CBD is going to be the compound of this century. For sure. Interesting that it's not fancy.
For any of us who have raised children and have had a sick baby that you end up getting, you know, either amoxicillin or erythromycin, one of these.
Yeah, erythromycin. I remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a parent of a baby, you'll recognize that about 24 hours after your baby starts taking antibiotics, that they have completely liquid bowel movements and they get a big rash on their bum. And part of the reason why they're getting a rash on their bum is because that antibiotic is knocking out all of this bacteria that you're talking about in this article, right? Our gut bacteria, which is responsible for a lot of the digestion of our food. And so certainly, like when a baby, like the first time a baby gets antibiotics, John, you've probably seen this before, right? They get a big rash on their bottom, right? Because again, their body is now out of balance because you've knocked out the lower rungs of the food chain that your body needs as part of its biome there.
Wow.
And a good thing to help reestablish that, especially with babies, is yogurt, because yogurt is probiotic. You'll start to, again, alter some of that natural biome that you need to replace.
Well,
you'll see that when an adult takes something like erythromycin or amoxicillin, yeah, it messes up your GI, right? For exactly the reason why we're saying, right, John?
Yeah. And who knows? We don't know why IBS, irritable bowel syndromes, are around. It looks like the bacterial count is normal, but a lot of times the suggestion is to use probiotics to rebalance what we may not be measuring.
Fascinating stuff. Well, I guess what you guys are saying with all these antibiotics, with the fact that they're so strong, I guess they kind of need to be, these pharmaceutical companies kind of need to be like OT Genesis, don't you think, Dr. T? Because they need to cut it with some CBD. You know what I mean?
What's OT Genesis?
OT Genesis is a rapper that sings "You've Got to Cut It."
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the rapper from the 80s or the 90s.
No, he's current. He's more current than most. You know what I mean? He's from this millennium. Let's just say. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well. This was fun and very educational. And on that, we're going to roll right into Dr. Gene Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and of Medican, where you can get your doctor's recommendations all the time online every day of the week, Monday through Friday. And I highly advise of it because that's the only way you're going to be eligible for Schedule 3, in my opinion. But nonetheless, it is none other than Dr. Gene Talleyrand.
Oh, God. You and Trump. The fearmongers.
I'm promoting your business, Dr. T. Easy there.
I appreciate it. Happy Friday, everyone. My story is again from the Marijuana Herald. Randomized controlled trial finds CBD again may reduce anxiety and perceived effort in runners by Anthony Martinelli. So another potential use for CBD today. A clinical trial published in the journal Nutrients finds that a single dose of cannabidiol, CBD, can help runners feel calmer and slightly reduce perceived effort during a short-term distance run without affecting performance or causing gastrointestinal issues. The study was conducted by researchers from the University of Northern Colorado and used a randomized placebo-controlled crossover design. 12 recreational runners, including 4 men and 8 women, were with an average age of about 25.5 years, participated in 2 separate testing sessions. One session, participants received 300 milligrams of CBD, while the other, they received the placebo. The order of treatments were randomized, and each participant served as their own control. On each testing day, participants consumed either CBD or placebo capsules and then rested quietly for 2 hours. Researchers assessed anxiety levels using the State Trait Anxiety Inventory Scale, along with resting blood pressure, heart rate variability, and blood lactate levels. Participants then completed a 2-mile tread run as fast as possible with heart rate, perceived exertion, and blood lactate measured during and after the run. Gastrointestinal symptoms were also evaluated immediately afterward. Compared with the placebo condition, participants reported significantly greater feelings of calm and relaxation after taking CBD, with increases of 21 and 22% respectively. During the run, those who received CBD experienced an 8% reduction in perceived exertion at the 1-mile mark. Despite this change in how hard the run felt, there was no difference in overall run time between the CBD and placebo conditions. So placebo is not performance enhancing. The researchers found no meaningful differences between treatments in blood pressure, heart rate variability, or gastrointestinal symptom. These findings suggested an acute dose of CBD at 300 milligrams taken before exercise may help reduce anxiety and perceived effort during shorter runs without impairing performance or causing unwanted side effects. So I recommend CBD often, as you probably can tell, primarily to THC users. The feedback that I get is similar to this study. Most patients say they don't feel anything with CBD. And my response is that that's the purpose of CBD: less pain, less anxiety. You won't feel high, but you will feel relaxed and calm. CBD is perfect if you need to complete a task without feeling high or distracted. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of the psychoactive effects of THC. However, it has its time and place. According to this study, if you have a workout to complete, like running, which needs focus and effort without distraction, CBD is ideal. Also note the dose, 300 milligrams. Many CBD products offer a fraction of this dose. Meanwhile, most scientific studies use doses of 300 to 600 milligrams of CBD. So the industry hasn't caught up with the science. So be discerning when you choose your CBD product. Dosage matters. And if your New Year's resolution is to work out more, think of CBD. Take it an hour or so before the workout. Feel less pain, less anxiety, and more motivation to run. This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand with High at 9 News.
Dr. T, I got a question for you. So, if this is the case, does this mean that CBD will enhance your runner's high?
I knew that high had to work itself in there somewhere.
You knew that was going to happen, right?
Your runner's high, it's been debated whether it is from endorphins, which are opiate-like internal chemicals, or endocannabinoids. And I think there's been a shift in perception that the runner's high may be due to endocannabinoids over endorphins. So we're still sort of trying to understand what that runner's high is. Yeah. Does CBD reduce the high from endocannabinoids? I don't know that there might be some competition with the receptors, but CBD also blocks the metabolic enzymes, the ones that degrade the endocannabinoids. So it may help potentiate those receptors too. So yeah, a lot of complex things are happening at the molecular level. What I would say, try it.
Go for it, Jesse.
Dr. T, are you saying that when you're running, your body kicks in an anandamide?
Yeah, endocannabinoid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there have been reports that endocannabinoids may be the source of the runner's high. Yeah,
And it would be primarily anandamide, right?
anandamide and 2-AG. Although 2-AG is more a CB2 agonist, it does have some CB1 effects too.
Okay.
I don't know which particular that's a good thing to look up though. Which particular endocannabinoids have been associated with running?
Oh, that's interesting.
I'll tell you by the end of the show.
All right, let's
Look
go.
at that. Look at that. What do you think about this, Dr. Mark? Are you gonna start getting on the treadmill after
Start
hearing
running.
this story?
I wonder if you get the same runner's high if you're just on the treadmill, or is it something that actually traversing the earth is required?
Well, these guys had to run 2
Oh, that's
miles.
interesting.
Yeah, so can you get if you're just sitting on the exercycle?
I totally understand what you're saying, because it's like the same thing like when people take their shoes off and they just step on the grass so that they're grounding, is what you're saying. Is there a grounding effect by actually pounding the pavement as opposed to running in the same place on a treadmill?
Yeah, or exercycle, or
Yeah.
But
that's an interesting
I would
question.
imagine that it has to do with your increase in heart rate, and you're pumping more blood around, and the energy required for muscle movement eventually comes from your ATP that's being made in your mitochondria. So a lot of things have to kind of happen to make that work. And it's like the cells are open for business, because at that point there's a lot of respiration that's happening. There's a lot of exchange, pulmonary exchange, right? Refreshing the oxygen content in your blood as your hemoglobin carries it all through your body. So yeah, I've heard this too, Dr. T, where it's not necessarily endorphins. It could just be some hormonal changes. I didn't really hear that it was connected to anandamide, so that's pretty interesting.
They're not saying everyone's saying endocannabinoids. Oh, here's one. Increase in all of them. AEA, 2-AG, OEA, PEA. So a lot of them.
Sounds like a lot of alphabet soup to me, Dr. T.
Those are your endocannabinoids. You can actually buy some of them online and ingest them, like OEA.
Hold on a second.
Get it from
letters and numbers to characterize the molecules, right?
Hold on. You're
Where
telling
do
me
they get endocannabinoids that you could take?
Yeah.
How
are
What you really mean is molecular soup, not alphabet soup. Go ahead.
Where are they harvesting that from?
Yeah, where are they harvested? Yeah. Like,
where they are? Oh, I don't know if they're extracting it. That you have to ask Dr. Mark whether they're extracting. How are they making OEA and selling it commercially?
Yeah. So that is probably a synthetic they're making. So the O stands for oleal, and so that's coming from some oil source, right? So yeah, those are all basically just fatty acid derivatives of anandamide, right?
Yeah. So the natural synthetic line is very blurred to a chemist, right? Because it depends on what your starting material is, and your starting material could be something natural, right? But then you start messing.
Right. So for 2-AG and anandamide, that group is arachidonic acid, right? Arachidonic acid is the fatty acid that is part of the eicosanoid pathway that arachidonic acid comes. It's a membrane fatty acid, but the arachidonic acid pathway ends up having all kinds of biological implications because downstream metabolites of arachidonic acids are things like leukotriene, thromboxane, cyclooxygenase is one of the enzymes that a lot of analgesics hit, right, Dr. T? So COX-2, COX-2 enzyme, which converts something in thromboxane, a precursor. Like leukotrienes and prostaglandins are sometimes the things that mediate inflammatory response and smooth muscle. And so when you're having a anaphylactic shock or something that's going to tighten up your airways, that's often because a lot of these mediators are coming down through the arachidonic acid pathway. So it's interesting that arachidonic acid, again, is the fatty acid portion of 2-AG and anandamide, so there's a commonality there.
So arachidonic acid is from other animals? Where are we getting it from?
No. It's
got it all
from us.
for us.
Yeah, it's a polyunsaturated acid that's in our membranes, but
if we're gonna source it, how do we get it? Where, like, if you're gonna,
we get it, I think through metabolism of polyunsaturated fats in our diet.
I think you're misunderstanding. If we're gonna sell a product that is this, where would we get it from? We wouldn't harvest it from humans.
They're getting it from Planned Parenthood then.
That's kind of my point. That's not what's happening. Right?
Just Google OEA, buy OEA, and you'll get capsules of OEA out there.
Yeah, I think they make it microbially, but I think originally they probably got it from fish oil, one of those fish oil polyunsaturates like the omegas. So it's probably similar to that. They probably have a bacteria specifically to make that in a genetically engineered way.
Fascinating.
Okay, I did Google it, and it's saying they can source it from some egg membranes and algae.
That's why why the egg prices were so high.
Provide it along with omega-3s.
That's probably genetically modified algae that they've upregulated the synthesis of the algae, just poops this shit out so they can extract it.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow. Look at this, bro. Man.
The science today.
Yeah,
JB.
bro. I'm in this. I'm with this. I'm
deep in the science.
I really enjoy this medical day, you guys. You know what I'm saying? Getting into the science of all this stuff is very, very interesting. But on that, we have to go to our next commercial, but we are going to be right back right away. And remember, these ads are playing live on Fox News right now.
Rescheduling cannabis, which was classified as more dangerous than fentanyl. Trump's action will destroy the cartel's illicit black market, expand medical research, and ensure seniors and veterans safely receive the care they need. Thank President Trump for delivering on another America First promise.
And we're back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And also, make sure you're following us on X and Rumble. As we know, those are the most stable platforms out there in the universe.
Under President Trump, America is back. Trump's delivered the largest tax cut in history, putting more money in our pockets and restored America's economic dominance. Promises made, promises kept. Now it's time to fulfill another promise from President Trump and reschedule cannabis, which supports over 400,000 jobs and creates billions of dollars in economic growth. Reschedule cannabis and stack another win, Mr. President. America First Agriculture Action Inc. is responsible for the contents of this advertising.
Oh man, and yes, we are back. We are back, and we're gonna roll right in to Dr. Mark Scialdone out in the great green mountain state of Vermont, over at St. Michael's College. Yeah, that's right. He's playing with plants, he's playing with compounds, and he's even designing compounds and naming them after himself. It is none other than Dr. Mark Scialdone.
Okay. Hey, Jason, am I covering the first story I put up there or the second one? I can't remember.
I think the second one, and we can have you cover that original first one next week.
Okay.
So
we're going to do the vaping study.
Here, let me pull it up. Give me 1 second. Let me see what it says. It says toxicity and health effects of delta 8, delta 9, and delta 10 THC and unregulated cannabinoids in vaping products.
Yeah, the one where you said this is a significant paper.
Yeah, you said
I think this is a significant paper. So, hi everybody, happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a great week. Hope you got some great plans for the weekend, and cannabis is part of your plans. So I found this paper this week. Actually, somebody on LinkedIn sent it to me, and I thought it was really significant because, again, this is a group that has previously looked at some of the contaminants that are in some of these vape pens, and probably vape pens that are not part of the regulated cannabis market where there's really tight regulation, but vape pens that end up on the internet and gas stations and convenience stores. So the title of the article, and this comes from a group at the University of Rochester Medical Center, Rochester, New York.
Oh, yeah.
They had previously done some work that I'm very familiar with, where they looked at contaminants that were in Delta 8 vape pens, and they found all kinds of stuff in there. I'm very familiar with this group, and this is their latest paper. It's entitled Toxicity and Health Effects of Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10 tetrahydrocannabinol and unregulated cannabinoids in vaping products. So this appeared in the Journal of Toxicology Reports, volume 16, and it's dated June of 2026. So I know we're only in January of 2026. I'd have to think that's a typo. Okay, so let me read the abstract. So the abstract reads: hemp-derived cannabinoids, such as Delta 8 and Delta 10 tetrahydrocannabinol, in cannabis e-cigarettes. So right away, as soon as you see e-cigarettes, you know that
Problems.
they're approaching this from the safety point of view, right? Have been growing in popularity amongst youth, causing great concern for their health effects. Previous novel lung injury outbreaks, such as e-cigarette or vaping use associated lung injury, or what we call EVALI. So the acronym is EVALI, were associated with the rising use of e-cigarettes and vaping products. Toxicological studies have revealed that chronic exposure to cannabis vapor can cause adverse brain and pulmonary effects. Hemp products are classified as cannabis and set the limit of no more than 0.3% Delta 9 THC, while products containing more than 0.3 are defined as marijuana. This has led to the proliferation of hemp-derived intoxicating cannabinoids such as Delta 8, Delta 9 THC, and Delta 10 THC, in addition to cannabidiol, cannabinol, cannabigerol, and Delta 9 THC appearing in some combination products. CBD frequently serves as a significant component of hemp-derived formulations, making it a central consideration for toxicological and regulatory evaluations as well. This phenomena poses significant This phenomena poses significant health risks to youth because these newer THC isomers and products are currently unregulated and not well researched, yet they are still widely available. Therefore, we have examined the pharmacology, toxicity, and potential therapeutic uses and possible health risks of several THC and hemp-derived cannabinoids. This review draws insightful highlights the public health consequences of secondary exposures, THC and CBD, and their molecular mechanism of action. It underscores the urgency for regulatory oversight over unregulated cannabinoid markets to prevent toxicity of vaping related health crises and other rapidly emerging cannabis health disorders like cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, or CHS. So yeah, very interesting study. And if I scroll down and we talk about, the safety of these compounds, again, things like delta 10 and delta 9, or delta 9 THC is pretty widely known, and to a much lesser extent delta 8, but I haven't seen much toxicology work on delta 10. So they present this work down here, and they're looking at both the anti-inflammatory and inflammatory effects of these compounds and in a particular cellular assay.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what they find when I scroll down is that with delta 8 THC, the common health effects are euphoria, relaxation, pain relief, impaired memory, anxiety, dry mouth, increased appetite. Also hallucinations, sedation, tremor, anxiety, dizziness, confusion, visual distortions, I guess in some cases even loss of consciousness. Delta 9 may lead to euphoria, relaxation, anxiety, dizziness, and dry mouth. So you're not getting a lot of the negative effects that they observed for delta 8 and delta 9. And with delta 10, they said it might lead to mild euphoria, increased energy, which is interesting, clarity. That's interesting. How could you be approaching clarity and euphoria at the same time? Maybe that's a different kind of mechanism. A mild anxiety, dry mouth, dizziness, sedation, and confusion. So the harmful effects of CBD and THC, they kind of go through this. I don't think this is mostly a review. They do talk about cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, again, mostly drawing on studies that were done elsewhere. So just to cut to the chase, to try to get down to conclusions here, the emergence and growing popularity of cannabinoids and tetrahydrocannabinol, including delta 8, delta 9, delta 10, presents significant health risks and public health concerns. While cannabinoids and delta 9 THC do demonstrate solid therapeutic medical potential, according to several reports, for widespread availability, especially regarding isomeric products like delta 8 and delta 9 THC, remains poorly regulated and not well understood in terms of their potential issues. So lack of consistent regulation enables misuse and raises significant public health concerns, and due to existing loopholes in the regulation regarding hemp products, delta 8 and other forms of THC are readily available through online platforms, in some cases, depending on the laws in your state, smoke shops. Additionally, counterfeit e-cigarettes introduce a range of toxic substances, including solvent-derived hydrocarbons, silicon-linked chemicals, and things like vitamin E acetate, which we know were added as a diluent to basically cut the THC. If you could take a kilogram of THC and all of a sudden make it into 2 kilograms by cutting it with stuff, you're going to make more money, right? So these compounds can contribute to oxidative stress and inflammatory processes, leading to acute respiratory syndromes like EVALI, as suggested in earlier studies. Beyond the toxicological risk, the pharmacological effects of THC and CB1 or CBD through their action at CB1 and CB2 receptors and NF kappa beta pathways reveal complex roles in neuroprotection, inflammatory inflammation, and immune modulation. It has divergent pro and anti-inflammatory properties based on dose and susceptibility factors. And although some literature suggests that young adults have a high prevalence of cannabis vaping, This review emphasizes a critical need for regulatory reforms by mandating more consistent cannabinoid regulation across different states, more accurate labeling of cannabinoid content in e-cigarette products that are on the market, and expanding the scope limited to regulation of Delta-9 THC to regulating some of these other isomeric products. Establishing proactive measures is essential to safeguard public health and to mitigate health risks, by reducing the rise of novel cannabinoids and exposure to harmful unlabeled chemical additives. Public awareness and public health initiatives focusing on prevention are necessary to counteract the common misconceptions about cannabis vaping being safer than traditional methods. I guess they're referring to smoking. Ultimately, this review underlines the urgency for further research and tighter regulatory frameworks to mitigate health risks amongst youth associated with cannabis vaping. Well, yeah, again, the slant towards youth and the slant towards e-cigarettes and vaping, somewhat an alarmist kind of point of view. This is a very experienced group of toxicologists that have previously published 1, 2, 3, 4 different papers looking at contaminants that are in some of these vape pens. So I think this is a serious group. Rahman is the principal investigator. They've looked at a variety of different products that are out there on the market and find all kinds of crap in there. I think what this says is that you should stick to a regulated cannabis market product. I'm not sure you can really trust those hemp-derived things just because of the lack of regulations and the lack of way regulatory processes are enforcing, product quality testing on those products. So can those products get you high, get you the desired thing of what you're looking for? Absolutely, but they can also potentially get you sick too. So yeah, I think it's best to stick with plant-derived D9 and stay away from the synthetic stuff. I think the synthetic stuff is super interesting for researchers like me to develop new pharmaceuticals and new medicines. But I think this too is an artifact of cannabis prohibition. If people have unfettered access to high-quality cannabis and cannabis-derived products, I think this market for recreational synthetics will go away. So that's my opinion. I'd be interested in what Dr. T and the other 2 JBs have to say. So, yeah, more of the same kind of stuff, a lot of alarmist language coming from labs that are testing these things because they're finding all kinds of crap in there. And that's my story here Friday in the halls of St. Michael's College. I'd be interested in what my other correspondents have to say about this story.
Man, Dr. Mark, so they talked about all the compounds, all these dirty compounds and all these vaping products and whatnot. But I'm interested, how come they didn't mention the terrible hardware and the possibility of contamination from leaching, of using all these bad metals, not heavy metal, but bad metals.
Yeah, and there's been work now by Amber Weiss and others that have basically shown that those metal components that come in contact with the vaporizer oil inside the vape pen do end up leaching some of those metal components.
Yeah, I mean,
into the oil.
Yeah, and OG Grandma 420 in the chat, he says, no wonder peeps are suffering from psychosis. And I couldn't agree with him more on that. I think that vaping is probably a big contributor to craziness.
Not sure all that. Yeah, I mean, everyone loves a vape pen. Let's put it that way. Vape pens. I don't. Super popular.
I think they're ridiculous.
Oh, Jesse's shaking his head. Maybe he's not a vape pen guy.
Me and Jesse, we're not fans of vape pens. We think they're totally ridiculous. But a lot of people do like them. A lot of people, the mainstream loves them.
Well, they love them because they're convenient. You're needing to drive around. You got your kid with you.
Yep.
There's now. I think I'm liking the fact that there's a shift toward dabbing, which is First of all, those vape cartridge things, those disposable things are not good for the environment, as well as potentially getting the metal shavings from the metal ones. But, if you can get a portable dab rig, then it might do the same thing as your vape pen. You might have to load it, but at least you're not, creating more disposable products, etc. So I suggest that shift.
I see that.
I mean, the vaping phenomena really was introduced to cannabis, I think, from nicotine, right? It was already
I think it was. I think kind of what happened with that, Dr. Mark. I think you are somewhat right there. And basically, there was the whole anti-marketing of cigarettes, and there was a big decline in tobacco. And tobacco manufacturers were looking for ways to be able to, still be able to capture this younger market that was at large numbers not becoming cigarette smokers. So therefore,
they love their jewels, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my whole point.
Came out, all the kids loved them. I was raising adolescent kids.
Yeah.
During that time,
that's exactly my point. And right around that time when all of the tobacco vapes came out was right around the time when we had the big explosion of cannabis concentrates and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, some people are like, oh, because these cannabis people are pretty crafty. They're like, hey, what if we take apart one of these vape pens and we load it with cannabis oil and see what happens, see if it works. He's like, it should work. And all of a sudden it did. And then all of a sudden now we have this whole vape craze, and we had vape gate because of all that bad China metal and all those products back in the day.
And that's the dirty truth is that all of that hardware, without exception, comes from Asia.
Yep.
Where again the presence of any shiny metal component, anything that looks like it could be like silver or nickel or chrome.
Yep.
Those could all be contaminated with lead, mercury, arsenic, cadmium. And again, work by Amber Wise and other people over here have now found that components that are in the oil itself leaches some of those metals.
Exactly.
And Dr. T, you don't necessarily have to have metal shavings. All you have to have is the metal surface. And the metal surface will eventually
leach.
In most cases, like metals will oxidize. Kind of like you think of like the Statue of Liberty is a great example, right? It's a copper statue, but it was oxidized over a period of time. Basically put copper oxide on the outside, right? Actually, it's copper hydroxide, which is the greenish colored stuff. But that prevents further deterioration of the metal. I think the problem with most vape cartridges is that you're heating up the oil, and in that hot zone, there is going to be leaching metals, and I know that there's been a big push towards ceramic components. So now you're not necessarily have shiny metals in there, but now you have ceramics. But ceramics could be just as dirty.
But don't you get ceramic from tin originally, Dr. Mark?
Well, ceramics are mostly layered silicates, so it's basically sand, glorified, chemically modified sand, right? So a clay that you dig up from the ground is what we call a layered silicate, right?
Okay.
And you can exfoliate the clay, which is peeling back the layers. But in most cases, some of those ceramics contain also heavy metals like titanium and aluminum and other things. And bottom line is that there is no safe metal cannabis oil surface contact that's not going to be inert. So over a period of time, especially if you let those vape cartridges sit around for a couple of years, you're going to increase the amount of metal that is leached into those. So maybe what the thing is with vape carts is there should be an expiration date. When they're first put together, right, maybe they're going to leach a little bit. But if you use that vape cart and that vape cart is basically on
Doctor
before you get appreciable leaching, I feel like maybe that's.
I feel like if we're looking for like kind of like a public safety solution, I think that a better solution, Dr. Mark, is saying, hey, you know what? these products, they have to be filled by X date, because if they're not consumed by this date, which would be the date that would be its actual expiration date, the battery will no longer be charged and it will not work. And then that way people can't use them. And that to me would make the most sense of how to, curb that kind of a problem.
Right. But now you're going to be filling the landfill with a bunch of used.
I don't have I don't have any problem with anything like that. It's no problem with that. You know what I mean? You guys may have problems with that. I don't have any problems with that. We're getting ready to send all of our trash over to Mars pretty soon, so I'm not worried about that.
We're going to pollute the red planet?
I'm totally fine with that. No problem with that.
We're going to fire rockets at the sun.
Yep. We're going to incinerate it.
This is a product of prohibition. These things are coming out of innovation that comes because of prohibition. If we just allowed people to have THCA and THC and didn't limit these things, these odd products and these odd conversions wouldn't really be happening because they're extra expensive, right? If we could just use THCA and THC, people would be plenty happy with it. So that's the first part. These products are scary because you don't know the process. Like Dr. Mark said, you don't know who extracted them. You don't know where it was extracted. You don't know where the source is from.
China.
It could have possibly come from China, and somebody ordered a ton of CBD from China. Who knows? Right. And who knows how that was made, right? So there's all these things, and then you end up with all these compounds that are conversions. And how is that done? Was it done in a safe way? There's no way to verify any of this. And then we don't really have much research on what these compounds do in the body. We know pretty darn well what THC and CBD do, what the natural plant compounds that are in flower and natural extracts do. But we don't really know a lot about these things. So in that sense, they're risky. And look, if you want to take risks, go for it. You might get some poisoning or some lung problems or something down the line that you regret. But if you want to take the risk, as long as you know about the risk, that's up to you. If you want to harm yourself, and this is definitely the libertarian in me speaking, if you want to harm your own body, that's your problem. Unfortunately, in our insurance system, it becomes everybody else's problem too. So that's
but hold on, we're about to
the challenge.
President Trump just announced yesterday there's going to be a new healthcare system. Trump RX is coming to fruition. So that's going to totally change the whole game, where people are going to get the money to purchase their plans as opposed to the other way around. It's going to be a whole much better system, and so I'm really looking forward to this. Jason.
Well, that's a rabbit trail, and how that plays out, we'll see. But right now, if you choose to harm yourself, you're probably on an insurance system, and that means you're raising the cost for everybody else. So in that sense, it's not good to harm yourself. So you got to watch for that. The other thing is that the same thing with this hardware. You brought up a good point. This hardware and the want to do things for convenience. And the fact that cannabis has become this thing where we want it on convenience, I think is pretty antithetical to the plant itself. And we would be wise as cannabis consumers to think about how we're consuming things and why. Similar to food, right? If you're eating junk food all the time, go to McDonald's 3 times a day for the next 2 months and see what happens to your body. Right, you're probably going to have liver failure is what's going to happen. And so it's because you're focused on convenience and because you're focused on fun, that just never ends well, no matter what it is. And food is a great example of that. These vape pens are exactly the same. If you're focused on convenience and fun, I guarantee you, no matter what you do, you're going to have a problem. So it's better to focus on quality consumption. Focus on ritual, focus on ritual. The thing is this should be something where you're taking the time, you're sitting down, you're rolling a joint, you're getting your extract, you're preparing. It's something that you're not just doing haphazardly, like, oh, I'm driving in the car, I got my vape pen with my kids in the car, and I'm just going to rip some vapes real quick. It's like, that doesn't feel right. to me about what the plant is or how it works. And that should really be, there is a case for that. Like if you're about to have a seizure, there's nothing better than a vape pen, because if you feel a seizure onset and you can pull out a vape pen and hit it really fast and stop the seizure, that's incredible. And there's a few medical instances where cannabis being used like that from a vape standpoint is good, but if you're doing it all the time, again, you're raising the possibility of all this toxicity. You guys didn't even mention the wicks that are in every vape, and the fact that most of them are plastic too. So not only do you have problems with metal, you have problems with a lot of plastic wicking that is inside of these vapes that hold onto the oil. So, and that's another problem you're getting.
Don't they use gun cotton for that?
Sometimes. Again, you don't know. So this is the problem with vape pens. Unless you open it up and tear it apart and figure out what it is, sometimes it's polyester, sometimes it's cotton, and there's no way of knowing without taking it apart. So they're dangerous is the point. And there's a lot of ways that they're dangerous. So beware.
On that, we are going to roll into our final commercial, and we are going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's Joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
And we are back, and we're going to roll right into Mr. Jesse Barney. He's the founder of Barney Design Co. that can help take your brand to the highest plateaus, even if you are a vape hardware brand or even a vape pen. He can show you how to market your brand to maximize its quality and convenience. That's right, it is none other than Mr. Jesse Barney.
And actually, if you are a vape pen manufacturer and you want branding, I'll tell you, you really want your brand to be known for poisoning people.
Man.
If that's the brand you want to go for it. I'm not going to be involved.
Rough.
Well, see, that's the thing about branding is it comes down to the truth of what you are and what you're doing. And if your main thing is creating vape pens and things like that and going for the green rush, then that's your brand. And at the end of the day, you're about making a buck on the back of possibly poisoning people. So that's who you are, and that's your brand, regardless of what your logo looks like.
Wow, the harsh truths by Jesse Barney.
That's right. I did not find a good science story today, but I found an interesting business story, and it really is. It's a little bit of a puff piece. It's definitely a press release that's coming out from Circle K.
Well, Jesse
and Varen.
Jesse, just so you know, I did find a scientific story that dovetails off of your story. So you're gonna love this.
That's great.
You're gonna love this. So yes, please proceed.
That's great.
Yes.
So this comes out of Cannabis Business Times. It's definitely a puff piece. That was a press release released by Circle K and Varen. But I think it's an interesting point given the executive order and the recent hemp ban that's supposed to go into effect this November. So it's interesting that these companies are still moving in the direction that they're moving regardless of that ban. So the headline is this: Circle K becomes first major convenience chain in Texas to sell THC beverages. Varen, the award-winning clean THC beverage redefining the functional energy drink category. There you go. You can see how it's puff right out of the gate. Has become the first THC drink to be carried by Circle K franchise convenience stores. The partnership brings Varen's innovative hemp-derived THC beverages to dozens of Circle K locations across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, marking a major shift in how and where Texans can experience the next generation of functional euphoric drinks. As consumers continue seeking alternatives to alcohol, sugary energy drinks, and traditional cannabis products, Circle K and Varen are meeting that demand head on. Unlike marijuana-derived THC products found in dispensaries, Varen uses hemp-derived THC in select functional ingredients, offering consumers a controlled, predictable, and legally accessible experience. This breakthrough formula helped Varen earn the title of Most Innovative Beverage of 2025 from Food and Beverage Magazine. And they describe it as this. Quote, jitter-free energy, flow state focus, mind-body balance, a signature euphoric social lift, said Varen CEO and co-founder Tyler Marshall. That's exactly why we created Varen. Our drinks combined hemp-derived THC and CBDV and select nootropics that boost mental performance like theobromine, L-theanine, lion's mane, and B12 to deliver a smooth, uplifting, feel-good, but still focused effect without the jitters or the crash. Putting Varen in the cold box at Circle K makes choosing that kind of experience as easy as grabbing your favorite beverage. Consumers can choose between 10 and 30 milligram THC options across 4 bold flavored varieties with 0 sugar, 0 caffeine, and 0 calories. Varen delivers one of the cleanest functional beverage experiences on the market. Select Circle K's stores will also host multiple in-store tastings each week throughout 2026. To learn more, go to varenlife.com, etc. Okay. So besides the fact that this is a puff piece, I think this is interesting because given the fact that there was this hemp ban and supposedly in 11 months, this is going to be over. I think it's interesting that they closed this deal and launched this product regardless. It seems like they're kind of planning on fighting. And it seems like they're banking on the fact that there might be a reversal. And Circle K is a big enough company that they might know something that we don't know. So I just wanted to bring this up because maybe it hints at where this is going. And I kind of hope it does go this way. I kind of hope that the corporations and the people who are already involved in the hemp space start fighting because hemp is the closest we've gone to true legalization, period. So I'll toss it over to everybody else and see what they have to say about it.
Well, this is just more shameless self-promotion of these beverage manufacturers. And, Circle K has been doing a lot of spoofing with their brand within cannabis on news. And so I wonder if this is going to be fake news or if this is actually going to be real news, because I don't remember if you remember a number of months ago, they were advertising that they did a deal with Rise dispensaries in Florida, and they were going to put a Rise dispensary in every Circle K in Florida, which was a total BS ridiculousness. So Circle K, to me, doesn't have the most credibility when it comes out with stories like this. But what I will say about what you had mentioned about the current impeding deadline is that on yesterday's episode, we did cover a story, Jesse, where Indiana Republican, okay, you hear this, Dr. T? Indiana Republican introduced legislation to punt that ban date to the end of 2028, which would ultimately make this hemp issue a presidential election issue in the 2028 election cycle. Right. Oh yeah, stir it up.
Well, for those of you who haven't been following this hemp and world, the hemp industry, which is the same thing as the regulated marijuana industry, except without all the regulations. So they do have some tendency to put out bad products like the vape pens we were just talking about. Yeah. But for those who are conscientious producers of hemp, they are making just as much or more money than the regulated marijuana industry. And a lot of that money is not tied up in tax obligations. So their political power to stop this ban in November is huge. And a lot of companies are operating like there will be no ban because it's kind of like trying to stop the regulated cannabis industry.
Yep.
You couldn't if you wanted to right now. It's just too big.
I totally agree with that. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to get punted. I think a lot of that whole bill passing was mainly for optics, and so then that way Senator Mitch McConnell could make good on his promise to his bourbon donors and whatnot. But I do want to mention also too in the chat, Brian Dombrowski, he said that it is real. So apparently this is a real story. This is not a joking matter, Jesse. Circle K is going to be selling
I know it's a real
beverages.
story. I mean, they're really doing it in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they're really launching this. And I believe it's a test, and they're trying to see how it does and what goes on, and they're doing these weekly demos at the various stores.
I have a question.
So
are these Circle Ks? Are they allowed to also sell alcohol at these? Like, do they sell beer? I know a lot of gas stations aren't allowed to sell like hard alcohol, but they are allowed to sell beer and like lighter forms of alcohol. So I'm wondering if they are allowed to do that. Because I think that would make an interesting comparison too, also with the sales data to see how many people buy a cannabis beverage, not only versus an alcoholic beverage, but buy a cannabis beverage and buy an alcoholic beverage together to get that crossfade, right, Dr. T?
Well, Brian's in Texas, and he says yes.
Yeah.
So
yes for the crossfade, or yes that they sell alcohol.
I think Brian's going to say yes to everything.
Selling alcohol and these products.
Got it.
Yeah, I think people are choosing one or the other. I think when you mix them, it's not pleasant for a lot of people unless you're doing them in moderation, both. And alcohol sales are going down.
Well, Brian clarified. He said that the Circle K's do sell beer. So I don't believe that they sell alcohol, but they do sell beer at these things. So that you're gonna be able to go and purchase a 6-pack and a 6-pack. I wonder which one is going to be. You can,
but they'd probably. I think Dr. T's right, and the studies have proven this, that you choose one and the other, and people who are choosing hemp drinks or other forms of cannabis are less likely to purchase alcohol or as much alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was talking to a millennial the other day. He was like, "Yeah, who wants to drink anymore?" Yeah, but he's definitely cannabis friendly.
Interesting. Well, I think since gas prices are so low, people are going to have a lot more money to be able to purchase one or other or both of these beverages at these Circle Ks.
They have to spend it on food because food prices are so high.
Yeah, but a lot of people just like to drink their sorrows away, Dr. T.
Okay, no.
I mean,
I think again, like getting back to the story, the interesting part of this is what's going to happen in the coming year. We have several things interplaying. Mm-hmm. Trump issued language in the executive order that's directing Congress and the Senate to look at the CBD and the CBD derivatives again and use real world evidence. And he directed them to change the rule that they made. So there's language in the executive order that's kind of asking for the ban to be undone already. That remains to be seen how that plays out. And then you're going to have, it's a $30 billion industry that is equal to the entire regulated cannabis industry. So how are you going to just turn that off? I don't think you can. And I think there's going to be a big fight. How this all plays out is going to be really interesting. But what this story is showing is that companies like Barron and Circle K are saying, we're going forward and we're ready to fight, and we're gonna keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Circle K is going to be able to help lobby with these. This is going to be really interesting.
Exactly.
Interesting to see. And man. He says also too, when you go to Circle K, you can also get a hot dog also too while you're there. Also, Jesse, it's like Costco.
Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you could take care of your munchies and have a THC beverage. That's kind of where people are at.
So I do want to encourage people that if you are in the great red state of Texas, to make sure you stop by a Circle K. And apparently the Aim High Hemp distribution just brought a large order of Varin brand over to Circle K. So those should be available soon. So make sure that you support Varin and check this out, and send us some pictures of you purchasing, or a video of you purchasing some Varin from Circle K. I know we would love to see it, and we may even share it on our social media pages. I think that would be phenomenal to see and watch. And you know what I'm saying? The normalization of cannabis, even if it is in a can, I guess. Beverages are still.
That's great.
I'm just trying to be positive today. It's Friday. You know what I mean? It's a new year, Dr. T, but I still think beverages are stupid. I'm not varying from that.
I'm so surprised at how you poo-poo a part of the industry like that. That's
I poo-poo vape. What do you mean, Jesse? We just poo-pooed vape carts. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but those are literally poisoning people. Drinks aren't necessarily doing that.
BS. I call BS on that, because there's a lot of studies. There's a lot of studies that show that aluminum causes Alzheimer's.
Yeah, but
aluminum doesn't touch it. It's lined with plastic.
You touch it when you put it to your lips. Your whole body is a pore. Your whole body is a pore, bro. Just, it is what it is. Just spitting truth. You don't have to accept it.
I'm sure you never drink a soda.
I don't drink soda at all. I don't drink any carbonated beverages at all whatsoever.
You drink zero carbon. You have zero soda water.
Nope, none of that stuff.
You wouldn't drink a Waterloo or
never. Nope, I don't touch none of those trash products. Nope, none of that. Nope.
You use pots and pans in your kitchen?
I do. I got really good pots and pans.
Exactly. There you go.
I have. Hold on. First of all, I have the best pots and pans in the world. First of all, just so you know, if you came over to my kitchen, you'd be so amazed. I don't even cook.
What are they made out of?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll send you a picture of them though, Dr. Mark. I'll send you a picture.
Aluminum in there.
I don't think there's no. There's no aluminum in these things, bro.
They're so fucking heavy that you can't pick them up.
They are. They are. It's the copper skillets, bro. Copper skillets.
Okay, copper.
There's aluminum in there.
Copper's a hot commodity nowadays, Dr. T. You know what I mean? All the tweakers are trying to steal it all the time.
So this company, Varin.
Yep.
Varin.
Yep.
Company. Okay. Looks to be basically a consumer products company. The fact that they've named themselves Varin, they're obviously positioning themselves to be THCV and CBDV. What you need to know is that all THCV, period, without exception, is all being made through conversion from CBDV, right?
Right.
There are some high THCV cultivars, but those are going to have a lot of THC in them. So if these have zero THC, that should tell the consumer that this is THCV is coming from the chemical manufacturer based on CBDV, or it could be completely synthetic, not coming from the plant at all. So this is just a bunch of spit shine and marketing and a bunch of chads.
Oh,
These people have no connection to the plant whatsoever. They are 2 people removed from the plant for buying their active ingredients from wholesale manufacturers who are doing, basically making all these derived cannabinoid inputs. So
100% agree with you, Dr. Mark, and you're totally right in that sense. But also from a business perspective and an industry perspective, I'm just looking at the fact of where is this going from a policy and industry perspective, and where are companies like these going, and how's that going to affect the overall industry?
Right. This is another manifestation of what I've talked about plenty of times on High at 9 News, and why this is a easy play for big beverage.
Mm-hmm.
It's an easy play for big beverage because those cannabinoid ingredients are just another fucking ingredient that they have to figure out they can source. That's it.
But that only works.
Positioning of the product. You go to the website, you see some holistic woman there praying to the gods, whatever. It's all just spit marketing and.
But that only works, Dr. Mark, if the hemp ban is overturned. So
Sorry?
if the hemp ban, that only works if the hemp ban is overturned, which is the more
so
interesting
Jesse,
part.
I thought maybe this was covered on High at 9 News earlier in the week. There was a news story out earlier in the week
Yep.
talking about a rep from Indiana.
Yep. I mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah, he just said that
on the floor right now to basically overturn Mitch McConnell's hemp ban.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, it wouldn't overturn it. It would just put it back 2 years.
Yeah, whatever.
That's why I said it's going to make it.
That's the other thing is I also said there's language in the executive order that also directs Congress to overturn it. So there's a lot of things going on to overturn it. And I'm just looking at this from the corporate side. The fact that there's corporations who are moving ahead like it's going to be overturned is an interesting thing.
Well, speaking of all this beverage stuff, all right, I have a beverage study for you guys, okay? And I think Circle K, we're going to see if their sales go up or down, because there's a study, doctors, of cannabis-infused beverages that is linked to reduced alcohol use and fewer binge drinking episodes. Look at that. Dr. T is shaking his head. A new study published in the Journal of Psychoactive Drugs finds that marijuana-infused beverages may help some adults cut back on alcohol consumption, adding to a growing body of research on substitution effects between cannabis and alcohol. The research was conducted by scientists from the University of Buffalo, look at that, in the U.S., and focused on whether cannabis beverages are associated with changes in drinking behavior among adults who already use cannabis. As cannabis-infused drinks continue to expand in legal markets, researchers examined whether these products could serve as an alternative for individuals looking to reduce their alcohol intake. The study analyzed survey responses from 438 anonymous adults who reported using cannabis within the past year, and participants completed questions related to both cannabis use and alcohol consumption using standardized measurements drawn from the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance System. Researchers compared alcohol use between those who consumed cannabis beverages and those who did not, as well as drinking patterns before and after respondents began using cannabis drinks. About 1/3, 33.6% of respondents used cannabis beverages, typically consuming one per person. And in a quote, they say, users were more likely to report substituting cannabis for alcohol, 58.6%, than non-users at 47.2%. And states the study, they also reported fewer weekly alcoholic drinks after starting cannabis beverages, M equals 3.35, compared to before, where M equals 7.02. The binge drank less frequently at 80.7%, reported less than monthly or never, versus 47.2% before. Those who cited reduced other substances use were more likely to use cannabis beverages at 45.8%. And findings suggest that cannabis beverages may support alcohol substitution and reduce alcohol-related harms, offering a promising alternative for individuals seeking to lower alcohol intake, concludes the study. And that concludes my reading of the study as well. And look at that. Circle K might be swapping out their alcohol section for a cannabis beverage section at some gas station near you in Texas. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. Get out of the way, Bud Light. Getting kicked to the curb.
Well, likely not, but maybe over time, yes. We'll see.
A lot of people already kicked Bud Light to the curb already, Dr. T.
Did they?
Yep.
Yeah, they never were on my list.
No,
to begin with.
No, I'm with you. Me neither. But nonetheless, I think this is big news right here. That this is a growing epidemic. Then this is the type of studies that these beverage companies need to put in their performas when they're trying to raise capital. Is this type of stuff right here?
The distributors, right? Not the distillers, right? This is exactly the reason why Mitch McConnell threw that thing into the appropriations thing, right?
Well,
so,
it's why the bourbon industry wanted Mitch McConnell to do that. It's not. it's not because Mitch McConnell wanted to do it. Mitch McConnell got, had to do a favor for the bourbon industry, which is our big supporters of him, and it was the bourbon industry that wanted it done, not necessarily.
He got paid to do it, is what you were saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, correct.
He definitely got paid to do it.
Yep.
That's democracy.
Oh man, that guy. They need to put that guy out to pasture. Holy shit!
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. He needs
the poster
to go.
child for what is wrong with Congress. That guy should have been retired from Congress years ago.
He should have, but
Holy shit.
he gets too many
and he went into
kickbacks.
Congress only having a net worth of $200,000, and now he's worth hundreds of millions. What the fuck?
Easy there,
Right?
easy there, Dr. Mark. Easy there. Calm down. We got to get your blood pressure medicine going.
Mamdani.
Ernie.
What about Mondami?
He doesn't take payoffs.
Sure
yeah, right.
doesn't.
Yeah, right. Stop it. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
He shops at the same grocery store that I do.
Stop. You guys do? No way. You drive to New York to get your groceries? Why would you pay those exorbitant taxes?
Every once in a while, you see Bernie at the Hannaford's, right?
I mean,
He's pushing his own cart and doing his own shopping. Okay.
You're talking about
Like, he's a
Bernie or
US
Mondami?
Senator, and he's doing his own shopping. So I had to look inside Bernie's cart. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of food does Bernie Sanders eat?
Soup.
Spam. Lots of spam.
Well, the one thing I remember, Dr. T, that I saw in there was a box of Kasha cereal. So it's the cereal that Bernie eats. Right?
Interesting.
Good.
Interesting.
That's hilarious.
Interesting.
There you go.
While we're doing promos on products, Brian Dombrowski in the chat, he did say that Varin, this new cannabis beverage, is available at the Circle K at 10120 Coit Road in Dallas, Texas. And so go snap some pictures if you're in the Dallas area. Check this out. I want to see what their whole display looks like, their whole activation, all that good stuff. And good luck to our friends over at Aim High Hemp Distribution, who is their distributor. This should be pretty interesting. A little Texas roundup of crushing cans of cannabis, you guys.
Recycle your cans.
I mean,
some samples. We want to see him drink a cannabis beverage on air.
Well, they would have to do a serious sponsorship in order for me to drink their beverage on the air. Just so you know, but I am totally open to that type of a possibility of a challenge. Just so you know, Dr. Mark, I'm here for all of that, and I'm willing to you know what I'm saying, be the marijuana Mitch of cannabis beverage issues, and possibly have my my decisions swayed based off of financial contributions, as all politicians, you know what I'm saying, work with.
We need Jason to run for office, don't we?
Yeah. Oh, bro, I would be the best in office.
Not in the Republican Party, in the Might As Well Party.
No, I would only run in the Republican Party, because I understand how politics works, Dr. Mark. And you either have to run as a Democrat or you have to run as a Republican. You're never going to be able to raise any money to really do anything.
The Might As Well Party. What do you think?
You know what's funny is you know what I used to say, Dr. Mark? If I ever was to start a political party, the Democrats are the donkeys and the Republicans are the elephants. Do you know what animal I would choose as a mascot for a new political party if I was to create one?
The King Cobra.
No, better than that.
Mouse.
No, stop it, you guys. The octopus. And you want me to tell you why? I would choose the octopus because it has 8 arms, all with brains at the ends of its arms, so it could have its arms and everything all at the same time, thinking and processing and getting stuff done. It also can fit through any hole.
Oh,
okay.
Gosh.
And hold on, and here's the best, Dr. Mark. Here's the best for you. I could also spit ink for executive orders, and that is why the octopus should be the mascot for any new political party that is actually created and actually able to.
Oh, it also changed the game of circle jerk in a big way too, wouldn't it?
Well, you know what's funny is what I learned about octopuses too is that the female octopuses, if the males piss them off too much, they strangle them. Which totally sounds like America to me.
All right, guys.
Yes, and on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst Cannabis for helping us keep the lights on, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. And thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day. And thank you to Cloud Media Partners, Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show, patented and trademarked.